dit is Marianah Lourens met Kuns en Vermaak. Yes, Marianah Lourens. I can't say my own name. Marianah Lourens and Art and Entertainment. And once again, we are here in the green room, the very interesting green room, always full of interesting stuff, costumes for a show pending or something. It's normally quiet, but we will have some planes going over now and again and some sound effects. There's also a squeaking gate, which we sometimes hear. I have Elize Armoed. Yes. Am I saying that right?
That's right.
Armoed. And she has written a book that she's going to tell us about. You launched your book a couple of months ago.
That's
and
right.
From what you told me, you had successful launches. It's almost like a repeat launch as well, because your first order was sold out.
Absolutely.
And then you had to put in another big order.
Yeah. I think it's just the need that widows and people that are grieving, that they just needed something. And it's just my story that I'm sharing. I'm a normal person. I'm plain Jane. It's just my story. And that is the thing. Everyone has a story. And if you share your story, it can make a difference and it can bring change.
And the title of your book is Who is the Widow?
No, it's Wife to Widow.
Wife to Widow. I couldn't
That's
see
it
it on the printout so very well because some computers just hide white letters. But yeah, Wife to Widow.
Yes, Wife to Widow.
Okay, it's a transition meaning.
From wife to
widow.
widow.
Yes, you can almost see the non-existent from there in your mind.
Yes.
So that's you, from wife to widow.
Yes.
And that is quite a journey.
Gosh.
Sure.
Absolutely. I've been married for 28 years. Met my husband when I was 19, so he was my guy, Unbelievable. I thought that the two of us is gonna grow old together. We're gonna sit on the stoop, and have our moments and stuff. And we planned even retirement and it didn't happen like that. 3 years ago, with the COVID pandemic, we did everything that we're supposed to do. Then he went back to work in June, end of June. One evening he came home and he said to me, I'm not feeling well. So because he was struggling with his sinus, we thought it's just one of those days. And high fever. And I said, well, okay, go to doctor and just, do the test. So that time it was the peak of COVID-19. So,
and was it 2019?
No, 2020.
Yeah, because 2020. It was just after lockdown relaxed slightly.
So he got the results saying that he's got COVID. And Auntie Marianne, that fear immediately was like, what now? What's going to happen now? My daughter crying. So it means, Daddy, I also have it because I kissed you when you dropped me at the college, and all that you are thinking. Did I get it? And it was just terrible when that fear just gripped you. So he went to sleep in our room. I changed to my daughter's room. My children went to sleep in the TV room. The next day, I started feeling, that they said your throat, then you just know. Yes. So started treating myself. My husband said to me, must I go and organize a test? I said, no, I know I have it, so I don't need to go. As it went, I got all the symptoms as well. He was in his 10th day. He came to my room and he said to me, there's something is wrong. And I said to him, I'll phone the doctor. When he put the phone down, the ambulance were already standing outside, waiting for him. Took a while with him just to find out that his oxygen is 30% and his sugar is 26. Got to hospital and he sent me a message. He said to me, the doctor said this was the first case because then, without us knowing, his kidneys was failing and his heart was failing.
Because it's this stuff you don't know.
We didn't know
because
that.
Now you're thinking chest. Cough,
exactly.
And stuff.
Exactly.
And what is the sugar count supposed to be?
That was very high. I think the normal one is 3 or 4.
Yes, so it was...
And it's not a diabetes.
Funny enough, I heard others who got high sugar symptoms who died from COVID.
He went and then they did the ice arrays and stuff like that, and they saw that his one lung has collapsed. And again, it's like, I was a cougher, I coughed. And he didn't. He was just sleeping all the time. So I said, but how? We couldn't understand. Doctor again said, this is a worst case. And he was a week in ICU, and doctor phoned me and they said to me, look here, we have to put him in induced coma because his organs are failing. We need to treat the lungs. So I said, okay, fine. Didn't know anything about induced coma. And he said to me, he can still hear you. Phone him every day. We'll put the phone by his ear and you talk. And we did that. But it was a time for us, I've never prayed like that in my life. I'm a different prayer warrior now. I've prayed. Sleep wasn't an option for me. Because if I was, I felt like if I'm going to sleep, I'm going to fail him. I need to fight in prayer for him. I did all the prophetic acts. I will take his photo, wrap his photo in a red cloth, and I will say, Lord, he's covered in your blood, Lord. All those things I've done. He passed on the 14th of August at 6:30. But just before that, the doctor phoned us at 5 o'clock and he said, come to the hospital. We went, layers of protective clothing, and that time it was nobody goes into the hospital. There were these containers outside. You do the testing outside. People are in tents, being treated. Only the serious cases will go then into the hospital. So we went quiet in the hospital. Only the nursing staff there went into the ICU. They had to put this cap, these 2 masks, all this. And that alone is emotional. It's trauma. Got to my husband and we started talking to him and we just saw this tear down his cheek. And then I said to him, Gerald, just do something that I can know that you hear me. Just squeeze my hand back. But then already I felt like he's cold. And I had to put this front because my children, they believed. Started crying and my son said to me, Mommy, you're not going to, we have faith. Daddy's going to come out. And then the nurse took me one side and she said to me, Mrs. Armoed, it's going to happen anytime. And Auntie Marianah, all that I just want to do is just to get out of there because I felt like I don't want to be here when it's going to happen. I don't want my children to see it. So we left, got home, and it was not even an hour they phoned us to say it happened. So that is when the missus became a widow, which I couldn't cope with.
And that's what you based your book on.
Yes.
And so if they want to know the rest of the story, they have to buy your book.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Elize, where can they get hold of your book? Now, you've told us everything before.
Yes.
Now, your journey began from wife to widow.
Yes.
And your book says it on the cover, From Wife to Widow.
Yes.
By Elize Armoed, Elize with a Z.
Exactly.
Yeah. And how do they find?
Listeners can contact me on 0788 463476. And I'm from the northern area. So I'm in Calvindale. Anyone, they can just contact me. They can come and collect their book and even have a chat with me. Because there's one thing that I wrote it actually down because just to remember it. And it says, and when you get to where you are going, turn around and help her too. For there was a time not long ago when she was you. And that is what my book is all about. Every experience I put in my book. Everything that I went through, my highs, my lows, I felt like I have to put it in a book form because we tend to forget. So everything that I went through, it's in the book. And it's something that, you have your own story, but it's something that you can relate to. That is why I've put this. But Pastor Marianah.
I know Pastor Marianah, Crompton.
I've won a competition. In this year, there was a competition, a creative writing competition. So I thought, because everything, it was in my journal from 2020 to 2022. So I said to my daughter, let me enter this competition. I've sent my manuscript in March 2023. It's a publishing house in Cape Town, Shofar Book Distributors.
Shofar, yeah.
Yes. I sent my manuscript in April, I got an email. You've won the competition.
Sure.
So this book, I didn't pay anything. You see how God works. Anything, no money to publish my book. It was a competition I won. The only money I spend is when I do the printing. And when God wants your story to be heard, He will do something. Something that you didn't even think about.
He does. And because you need to go through the grieving process, of course. And what a wonderful way it was for you to write the book.
Yes.
And you had to do it your way.
Yes.
Now, for another person who loses a husband, it will be therapy for her, and your book will help her.
Yes.
With her grieving
Exactly.
process.
Somebody said to me that reading your book, it's like we are sitting in a lounge opposite to each other and we are talking. It's an easy read. I'm sharing. The first chapter is the call. So the call is when the doctor the first time phoned me to say, come to the hospital, come and have a look. And I asked him, what are you saying to me, doc? Must I come and say goodbye to my husband? What are you saying? And he said, just you and your children, come to the hospital. Then the second call was when the nurse in charge called me to say, Mrs. Armoed, Mr. Armoed just passed on.
Yeah.
So the first chapter, it says the call.
Okay.
So the call changed me to widow. And another lady thanked me and she said to me, Elize, thank you for not letting your grief go to waste.
Yes, indeed. And this book is amazing. Now, you also told me, Elize, that you have a book to give away.
Yes.
Is there a question you want someone to answer, or the first person who calls you?
I think the first person that gives me a call will receive this book.
Yes. So it's Elize Armoed's book, From Wife to Widow, and it's by Shofar Publishers.
Yes.
And the number for the book, From Wife to Widow, is 078 846 3476. That is 078 846 3476. You want to know the rest of the story, you'll have to either buy the book or you can phone her and be the first caller to win her one book that she's got left to give away.
Yes.
Because all the others are sold and now you're waiting for the next lot to be
it's
delivered.
really going, it's like they say, like soetkoek. And they just want real stories. It's not something that comes from America, but it is
a South African story.
Yes.
So I'm going to have to say goodbye now because our time is up. So thank you so much, Elize, for coming to share your grieving adventure with us.
So much.
The writing of a book, it is a form of art, and the arts are therapeutic. I always tell everyone that. So for the one who's writing, it's therapeutic. For the one who's reading, and especially for the others who's also got an angel in heaven awaiting, but it's not easy to stay along here on earth. So thank you so much for coming. And it is time for Marianah Lourens and Art and Entertainment to say goodbye. Ja, Marianah Lourens wat nou groet met Kuns en Vermaak. Arrivederci.